Okay, in this video I'm going to explain why one of the properties that we viewed recently we obviously rejected upon viewing. Now, before obviously I go into a little bit more detail with it, it's always important, and you must understand definitely, that you shouldn't just go around booking viewings unless it's already passed, your basic due diligence stage, your basic analysis. Now, for us, I know we're a lot more tighter and have higher standards than other certain people, but I want to make sure that we're doing as much thing ahead of time rather than blocking in 4 and 6 viewings and wasting our morning or our day really. So we like to do the research ahead of time in as much depth as possible to then decide whether or not, yes, it's worth pursuing, especially in a new investment area. So the property that we saw this morning, why did we go to view it? It was fit into the criteria of what we're looking to purchase over the next 6-9 months. Standard bread and butter stock really, just 2-bed terrace that are likely to be good renters all the time. So if we're looking at the bell curve there, we're always looking in the middle of the bell curve really, where there's going to be quite a lot of tenant demand. So in the area, the oldest listed, I think, property of a similar type has been on for about 6 weeks. The newest listed has been on for about a week and so on. They tend to get rented quite quickly. Of course, we've spoke to 3 agents, and I remember attending an event with Alfie Best a good few years ago, 5-6 years ago now or something, and he did he did a talk, and he said estate agents can be like fishmongers. And obviously I thought, what does that mean? And he said, whenever you go visit a fishmonger's, they will always shout out fresh fish, caught this morning, fresh fish, and so on. Now, what he was getting at there is the fact that when you speak to estate agents and you say, how's the rental market, it is very, very unlikely that they're going to say it's terrible. We can't get rid of stock or anything like that. We're having to reduce prices. It's likely to be the other way. Oh yeah, everything's flying off the shelf and so on. Yeah, we can't keep up with demand. That may be the case, but just always treat things with a pinch of salt and do your correct due diligence and work out how long things are staying on the market for and how much are they renting for, and are properties having to be reduced in order to get a tenant in. Because if properties are having to be reduced and they're already at a reasonable price, a realistic price, then that tells you that there's not that much demand in that area. So this one here, as you can see, red writing right on the bottom, no. I still like to use good old classic pen and paper because I know where I'm at with it all and so on. This property met our criteria in the fact that it was a 2-bed terrace in a town with a reasonable population, close to a town centre, close to the train station. There was 2 primary schools fairly close by as well, but when you then go to view the property, and it's always best in a new area, you have a walk around a couple of the streets. Obviously you should have drove around the streets or made your way around the streets somehow, but definitely walk up and down the street that you're looking to invest in. Walk down parallel streets to see what they're like. Went to view this property today at dinner time. There was a sandwich shop at the bottom of the street and a row of other shops. I say a row of other shops, 3 or 4 other shops that was closed at dinner time, midweek. There was a fish and chip shop which had outside as well, chippy to rent. Cause I thought to myself, I'd never seen anything like that before. Chippy to rent, it's normally premises to let. And then the street as well was a little bit, now again, I'm not judging here, but it was a little bit scruffier than we'd imagine it to be. So already before you're even walking into the property, you're already thinking, right, well, there's a reason why this is so cheap and so on. And just to go off on a tangent here, when you're doing the BRRR strategy, put yourself in the viewer's mind as well. What's the curb appeal like of your property? So if at one point we did purchase this and they were thinking of the curb appeal, you're already then putting them down a little bit, and they're already having a little bit of a negative touch point before they even walk through your front door. But yeah, this one here we went to view. It needed too much really. Now, we are not shy. We've done many back to brick refurbishments, so not at all shy in the fact that it needed a little bit of work. If anything, we like those because you're ripping everything out to start back again. But ultimately, there was too much work needed for not enough return. You'd be a busy fool. You'd be busy spinning your wheels, okay? And that's the last thing you want to do. The last thing you want to do is be coordinating or even getting a project manager in to do these refurbs, and then finding out it's costing you even more money. And if you dropped in, how much did it say this would need? 15,000. 15,000. You drop in 15,000 and it might have only added an extra 10 or 12 or maybe 15,000 to the value. So it's a pointless exercise in the fact that you're looking to bring any money out. It's not pointless in the fact that you brought the property standard up, but it's pointless in the fact that you put money over there to then not be able to pull most of it or a large majority of it out. So yeah, the criteria when you're looking at things, always have that detailed spreadsheet. Again, our black belt framework has always been honed over years really to make sure that every deal that we've, especially when we're expanding into new investment areas, that it ticks all of the boxes on the spreadsheet and it's got a high return on capital employed. But then upon booking the viewings, you need to then be serious with yourself and don't get emotional. You need to make sure it is strict and you're looking at it objectively, not subjectively. You're looking at all the figures. So pre-going to the viewing, the figures on the spreadsheet looks fine. Okay, very good. But then when you get back and you do the necessary analysis after the viewing, you think to yourself, it's just not worth it. There's more properties for sale up and down this country than that particular one, and never try and force the figures to work. We would rather slow our progress down on acquiring assets than obviously just get assets for the sake of going, yeah, we've got another one, we've got a small block of flats. It's always about not ego, it should be always about up here, we're building that wealth, the silent wealth, however you want to call it, and we're happy that the fact that, yeah, we might need to slow down a little bit, but there's no way that we're investing our capital or indeed any of our partners that work with us, their capital into a mediocre deal. That's not what you want at all. So yeah, I know there's lots of things on YouTube and so on where people go, oh, made this fantastic, or found this fantastic deal, brilliant, okay, but very few people say why they passed on deals. For us, what did it need? Gas fire needed obviously capping off and removing, including brick surrounds in the alcoves around, a few windows needed replacing, radiators, kitchen needed going. You're then knocking a wall through and the extension of the kitchen. Let me have a look here. And the internal doors all the way throughout. Sockets, there were quite a few single sockets. So it's all basic stuff really. There was nothing that, it's not a listed building or anything. You could probably turn it round in about 8 weeks, but there's just not enough there. There needs to always be meat on the bone and a decent enough profit. Otherwise, just keep looking for the next one. I hope that helped us a few people. Check out some more videos on this channel. And again, we're definitely no hype or anything like that. I think I mentioned this before, but invest in a copy of that if you wish to. It's only been out a few weeks. Paperback version there, hardback version. So it tells you a little bit more about the black belt approach. Of course, it covers things about strategies, HMOs, buy-to-lets, title splits, and that type of stuff. But weaved in throughout in and out most chapters is some of the black belt mindset you need in order to help separate yourself and again grow that portfolio. So take care, invest in a copy if you wish, and again, please leave a decent 5-star review. Good luck, all the best. Okay, so now at the second viewing. Again, always be aware of the gable ends, and that obviously has been cut down, which is fantastic, but you've got to be aware that you're going to be looking after that third wall when it comes to pointing and so on. This has not had a sale agreed or anything, but again, it's only about 2 or 3 streets away from where we've just been. Going in here, hate stuff like this. Definitely need to have some sort of standards with refurbs, so that would definitely be going. Panel type of look here that we're looking at. So we'll go into the front room here, reception room, which has got that door to get into the kitchen, and also obviously that door as well to go through. Lovely anaglypta wallpaper, oldish radiators, windows. Again, they'd be alright with a bit of a clean, but what you're looking to achieve with this is it BRRR, old internal doors. Again, they would need to go. Underneath here, let's see, we have got the electricity there. Again, have some sort of standards, spend a couple of minutes cutting away that expanding foam once it's done what it needs to do. Being aware of replacing these radiators, they are quite dear, those 6-foot ones, so be aware of that. You've got the high sockets over there in the corner. Kitchen galley-ish style. You'd want to rip all this out here, there, and just pretty much have an L shape here, but starting pretty much there really, so get an extra 6 inches out of it. Boiler again, haven't seen a painted boiler for a long time, but there you go. So kitchen for the oven, but it's a freestanding one, so again with space you need to be aware, is it going to be freestanding or built in. Here we go again, this is where your refurb can really get carried away. Looking up there, the sun is shining today, so look at the drain pipe at the top when it goes into the hopper, or it should fit into the hopper. Same here, look at the, you can just see above the bathroom window. I haven't been upstairs yet. Again, that should have a cap on. The back of the property isn't looking too well. Again, you need to get the scrap man there for that. So if we're just thinking here, BRRR, again, water's getting in somewhere from there. You know, the numbers are not yet jumping out at me. So let's head on upstairs quickly. So again, large room though, definitely. If we've seen any of the other portfolio, you'll see obviously with that second room, you turn the front reception room into your front bedroom. Single socket again. So let's head on here into the front bedroom. Is there any, wow, a very large bedroom, definitely. Again, easy fix is getting your new internal doors. You'd want to be replacing single sockets with double sockets. That is quite a low window. Again, large there, but there's actually no signs of damp from there, and it doesn't smell as if it's just been painted. Here we go, a little bit of space there. And again, just, you know, when you're having standards, make sure they're finishing things off properly. But, you know, some people are just happy cutting corners, try and get tenants in as soon as possible, but really you want to be finishing it off to a decent standard, especially if you're doing the BRRR, but more importantly, just for your own peace of mind really, so that you know yourself your properties are at good standard. So let's switch around here. Again, we're still upstairs here. Bedroom, again with 3mm carpet, probably no underlay, same old really. Internals, a bit of a botch it job of painting, but those are easy fixes. The 3-inch skirting boards and so on. There's your roof, and then you'd need to obviously maintain that tree even though it's not on the land. You'd want to make sure, old window, let's then head back through here. You'd want to ideally skim over that just to freshen it off. Bathroom, no shower. There was the extract fan. So how would you get a shower in here? Again, you'd want to make sure something is there, or just not ideal, but you know, one of the shower curtain things. I might have seen one in the other properties. Again, rip the flooring out, probably skim coat everywhere, maybe keep the mirror. What else have we got here? Just probably a bit of extra storage. Add the old immersion heater in there, water tank, so on. So yeah, from this, it's better standard than the other one. It feels like a bigger property. Still needs some work doing to it though. So we'll see what the other one's like. Check you on the other side.